They looked at it. They decided he is guilty enough to be charged with felony murder. He's in the street now. He walked. So because they had to plug these holes.
Right.
So they hedged their bets to get one guy to literally pull the trigger. Like I said, he might not have been as culpable as our guy. However, you decided to charge him with a life felony and keep him in jail for 3-4 years almost. So you thought this was a bad enough guy, but at the expense of him walking in the street, I got 5 years probation.
Yeah, guy got 5 years probation. That guy's back on the street.
He's on the street.
That's because of bad police work. That wasn't even us.
Yeah.
Bad police work. Because they had bad police work and the police had created holes.
You could make an argument that it was because of us, because if we didn't take our case to trial, they wouldn't have had to flip him. And if we didn't
just
point out the holes.
But because of the police work, this is what happens, is you have a guy that actually orchestrated this walking around now, right? So who's to say just because he didn't pull the trigger, this is a problem, right? This guy can set up more and more, and that's what's terrible, because the bad police work. All this cop had to do, you didn't have to get a confession. What do you need to give? The guy asked for a lawyer, get a lawyer, right? Just like Larry said.
The worst cop I ever had on the stand is the guy that comes in and says, yeah, I screwed up.
Right?
Yeah, I screwed up.
Yeah, because people can relate to that.
Armed sexual battery in Palm Beach. Cop did nothing for 3 years. And I went to town on him. I said, you didn't go back. You didn't look for a shell casing. You didn't do any of this. He goes, no, I didn't. I think the grass would have been overgrown. But you didn't even bother looking. He says, no, I didn't.
And then you're done.
I got nothing.
You're nothing. You're done. Your line of questions over. The jury's like, oh, what an ass. I've done that before, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's done that.
It's like, hey, and they get past it. When you try to cover it up, now you give me something.
I have friends that are cops. I have a friend that I see with a young cop. I tell him I had a guy in a deposition where these guys are like, they catch predators and all that, and I had to take his deposition on a case, and I said to them, like, listen, just make sure your stuff's airtight, right? Just make sure do your job. Just do your job. If you do your job, we have to do our job. So you're asking us to not do our job because you didn't do your job, right? You understand how crazy that is, right? Do your job. If you'd have done your job, this would be needed. Now the guys walk. So now the negotiations start, because there's still argument. You make an argument. We could argue that this confession, the guy for time served and probation, he would say Jesus Christ did it. What does he have to say? I would say anything to get that, right? If you're facing life.
Who do you want me to say this?
Well, anyway, she starts to make offers of 40 years. And then we go back and forth, and I do what I do. She does what she does. And anyway, we land on a spot where the kid is pledged to, he's got 30 years. He's got credit in. He'll serve about 23 years and get out at 50 and have a chance at his life again.